Cathartic 38-28 victory over Florida that snapped that drastic 11-game losing streak to the Gators in the series and extended the Vols' winning streak to 10 games, extending back to last season. And it was pretty crazy in here. They were down 21-0 and they scored 38 unanswered points, and this place was going ballistic. And everyone was rewriting their stories as soon as we thought it was dead and buried. And I think the fans were starting to boo at halftime, and the Vols turned it around. All those touchdown passes, where did that come from? That's something that everyone's been waiting for, and Josh Dobbs answered with a few deep ones, at least 4 or more than 20 yards in a row.
I'm not sure I've ever seen a game on both sides of the ball for both teams where it was such a drastic change at halftime. I don't know what happened in the Tennessee locker room any more than I don't know what happened in the Florida locker room. As well as that game was play called in the first half for Florida, it seemed awful in the second half. I'm sure that's compliments some to Tennessee, but it's also Florida in a way. But yeah, I've never. I watched a game where it's that much of a difference. I think in the first half, Tennessee had 162 yards total offense, and in the second half, on 5 touchdowns, they had 157 yards of total offense.
Yeah, it was.
Which is mind-boggling.
Yeah, and it didn't start well. In the second half, Josh Dobbs threw an interception. You're thinking, oh, there goes that drive, and then, bam! They won explosive plays. They got tons of them. And Juwan Jennings, 67-yard touchdown where he juggled it, tiptoed down the sideline, and gave Tennessee the lead that was their first lead of the game, coming down from down 21-0. And on defense, I mean, Florida couldn't get any. Appleby looked really good to start the game. Austin Appleby, the backup. Second half, they just weren't going anywhere. And Derek Barnett led the charge. He had 2 sacks, 3 tackles for losses. He just dominated up front, and Florida couldn't get anything going. And Tennessee just, I mean, it was. The change was remarkable. It was, like, I mean, you say Taylor, it was the best of times, it was the worst of times. Taylor 2 halves. You can take it any way you want, but it was dominating. I mean, to end the streak that way, I think, we haven't left the stadium yet. I don't know if Knoxville's burning down from happiness, but it was
better than burning down from sadness.
Pretty celebratory in here, and obviously that gives, Tennessee's now after Georgia's performance today, they're in control of the SEC East. It's theirs to lose. They go to Georgia next week, but the way the Bulldogs look today,
getting down 45-0. It's 45-0.
Yeah, it wasn't pretty. So I think the Vols. I mean, they said you take it one game at a time. And during this stretch, they have to. Georgia, Texas A&M, Alabama, but the second 2 obviously are SC West. So they just got to control the SEC East, and this was the hugest hurdle. Cathartically, everyone mentally, physically, and Coach Butch Jones after was very mentioned a lot the resiliency. And just how the players never got down.
The local media needs to understand this. We understand Butch.
Resilient. Very resilient.
I don't know why this team has to get down double figures. It was 10 points against App State. It was 14 at Bristol against Virginia Tech. It was 21 today. It was 21 last year against Georgia. They came back to win that game. I don't know what it is about this team that why they have to sleepwalk until they're down 2 or 3 touchdowns. But I mean, you got to give them credit. I think you credit Dobbs the most because this team goes as Josh Dobbs goes, and he had some disastrous interceptions in the first half. They don't get points when they're deep inside the red zone, like Butch talked about. And in the second half, on multiple touchdown passes, he's stepping into the pocket and getting hit, absorbing a hit and throwing a touchdown pass. The first one to Ethan Wolf, the second or third one to Juwan Jennings, whatever the 67-yarder was. Yeah. That's beating good coverage and beating a defensive line that's getting to you by throwing the ball in time before you're taking a sack, and that's where you win a game.
Yeah, and I think even more, making it a little bit sweeter is the fact that it came against that secondary that was talking trash all week. And apparently we now know that a duck can, in fact, pull a truck. We've learned that. That's probably...
And we never have to revisit
that again.
Nobody at Georgia's going to say anything like that. Cross your fingers.
Yeah, the remarkable thing, just to kind of wind up, was the fact Tennessee was at the 1 and at the 3 and didn't score in the first half.
Passed on the early field goal.
Right. And they still come back and win this game. And you're thinking, oh man, they blew this opportunity, there's no chance. It was remarkable. I mean, it was historic. We're all going to remember tonight. So we'll be back. We'll get you, Butch Jones has his press conference on Monday. We'll get you on Facebook Live after that to tell you maybe he slept on it a little bit. Maybe we're not quite as bad as he thinks we are. Maybe
probably are.
But probably we are. But we'll bring that all to you. Thanks for joining us. I'm sure you guys maybe are out celebrating, as is everyone else. Again, that's, we're getting to Georgia next week. It's a road game, first SEC road game, so you never know what to expect there.
Just keep reading everything we write.
Keep reading everything. Fans. Everyone. We'll see you later. Thanks for joining.